Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Bad angles, missed tackles, guys jumping around their blocks, creating big gaps, and just a combination of things. And then some guys just get blocked where they're supposed to be, but they just get blocked, not getting off blocks. There's a little bit of everything.
Well, Dabo's got to find something to complain about with his football team, and I guess the defense is not exactly living up to the standards of the offense, but that would be some very high standards to try to meet with the offense that Clemson's going to trot out there in a couple of weeks. Dabo Swinney from the Clemson practice today. Of course, the Tigers scrimmaged over the weekend, as did USC. We'll hear more from the Tigers head coach, USC head coach Will Muschamp, and more here tonight on Sports Talk. Mick Mixon, voice of the Panthers, will begin his Monday night visits with us tonight as well. The Panthers with one exhibition game in the books. Welcome in. Hope you had a great weekend. We all certainly did. Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, the professor, Tom Hayes, Jared Rogers Martin, better known as Jarmart, and Carson Mason, better known as Carsonova, all together on this Monday night from our studios in downtown Columbia. 800-956-7266 is the phone number if you'd like to join in on the show tonight. USC going on the practice field tonight at 6:30. I bet many of you are headed that way because it's the first open practice to the public. The media has seen snippets, but this will be the first open practice for the fans.
Yeah, I'm sure there's been tailgating out there all day, people taking off of work, all sorts of excitement. There's just a buzz when you walk around downtown. People are ready for that first practice.
They're anxious.
No
Gamecock
question
fans want to see what's hidden behind door number 3.
What do you think? 70,000 out there today, give or take?
Take some zeros off that. No, I would suspect maybe 1,000 out there. I would assume.
What difference does it make if it's 1 or 100,000? It's open to the public. It's free for anybody who wants to go see the Gamecocks.
Apparently, according to Muschamp, it'll probably be more than SEC.
They are opening up concessions, so
they are having concessions.
Yeah,
they're selling concessions.
They're selling concessions.
Okay.
Well,
they must be expecting a pretty good crowd there.
Maybe they're selling water. I guess.
You know, the time's getting late. This will have to be a serious practice. Not going to be out there frolicking on the field at Williams-Brice. There'll be some serious hitting and. They're not going to scrimmage, I don't think, since we just had the big scrimmage on Saturday, but they've got to define some players and define some positions here now. It's starting to edge up towards opening day with Vanderbilt now just a little more than 2 weeks away. And, I would think that they've got a scrimmage on Saturday. I would think by his conference call on Sunday that we'll know a starting quarterback at South Carolina.
Will know, but will we know?
Well, I mean,
yeah, that's something to think about.
Will might already know.
Well, yeah, that's true. No telling what he knows versus what he's saying. He's saying it's still a very tight contest. He says 3, but I think everybody believes it's either going to be Orth or McElwain. And he may want to keep that information to himself or, play that game, or he might just say, look, here's my guy. He's going to name him. And, I see benefits both ways. You name that guy, everybody knows it. He gets a feel for being, especially if it's McElwain, his first time. Now, Orth has been in that situation before, so it won't be brand new to him. But in the case of McElwain, he has some adjustment to do. He's not going to interview with the media because freshmen are off limits to the media, I think, all season long.
He has not done an interview, since he was on Sports Talk when he turned down baseball? That was about his last interview.
Yeah. So the point is, you could see why he might go public with it, and that way the quarterback knows he's the guy and he starts acting like the guy. Or maybe he wants to keep it under wraps and spring it on Vanderbilt.
Yeah, and have those guys. Well, even if he tells the guy who the guy is, it doesn't mean he has to tell Vanderbilt. He could easily say, "You're the guy, but we're not going to make it public."
But then the guy tells his parents, and the proud dad tells his brother, the kid's uncle, and then the kid's uncle.
That's why you don't tell him.
Goes on
Don't
Twitter.
And now with a couple weeks left in camp, really, he wants to see those guys battle a little bit more, I'm sure, and go at it. They're splitting first team reps. Get a good feel for it. You don't have to do it early. Those guys are going to be working just as hard, and the competition is probably making all of them better right now. We do all expect Jake Bentley to redshirt at some point. So it's either going to be McElwain or maybe it's going to be both of those guys, and he's going to go into that game saying, we're going to play 2. That would not shock me at all. One of them still has to start.
He may play 3.
Yeah, if you're playing 3, that's
a
lot of cooks in your kitchen.
That's what I mean by that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
maybe some gadget plays for
Yeah,
Nunez because Nunez isn't going to get a significant number of snaps at quarterback.
He needs to master the receiver position. They had a lot of drops in their scrimmage on Saturday, but he sounded like in his conference call on Sunday, he sounded like the receivers are doing fine. He really likes the young freshman receivers, Banks, Davis, and Edwards. They apparently are shining out pretty well, and Samuel is apparently living up to expectations if he can just keep him healthy.
Well, the key point is these young players, and especially I guess you mentioned Banks, one of those guys with the speed to blow the top off a defense, because everybody says, well, we got to throw deep, No, it's the threat of throwing deep. And with the cadre of tight ends they have, if you can get those safeties out of there, they can have all they can eat.
Yeah,
and then you take the pressure off your quarterback of trying to have to win a football game.
This freshman Pollard, who is playing at tight end, he sounds like he was the 6A offensive player of the year.
He's a big
Georgia.
dude. I remember seeing his picture during the recruiting process. Yeah. And it's like, that does not look like a high school football player. Right, I mean, he was a big cat, and seeing him out there, he has some size to him. The fact that he's playing tight end because he's a receiver in high school, and I know the Gamecocks beat out Arkansas for him, if I recall.
Correct.
And they need to have some playmakers emerge. It can't just be the Debo Samuel show out there. They have to have other guys at the outside and back behind whoever the quarterback is that are able to make plays, and at the tight end spot. Those guys are going to have to emerge. They do have a pretty good looking offensive line. So if some of those guys can get out there in space, then it's just going to be about making those plays.
Now, Clemson wise, the Tigers, I think their only concern right now is who's going to be the starting corner opposite of Cordray Tankersley. I mean, everything else is set 3 deep across almost the entire depth chart. It's incredible. All that talent now starting to show up.
Iron sharpening iron.
Well, listen,
also,
we can laugh at all the things that Dabo has said over the years.
Yeah, they're
backed it up. He's flat out backed it up.
Here's the interesting thing about, although I've always thought that a national champion, while loaded with talent, also recognizes early on what is my weakest link. At Alabama, they used a staunch defense and a running game because what? Nick Saban says, I don't have that 5-star quarterback. I have to protect him. So they recognize early on, you want to go back years ago? Okay, we got to protect our defense. So what does Bobby Bowden do? Hey, here's our Heisman Trophy quarterback that can run all over the place in Charlie Ward and make first down out of first down and leave my defense off the field. He won a national championship with that because he recognized early on my weakest link is my defense. So Dabo, while he's looking at all the talent he has, well, wait a minute, where's the chink in the armor? And this is the way we're going to call football games, protect that chink.
Well, if you have a weak cornerback, though, there's smart offensive coordinators that are going to try to exploit that.
I'm not saying they're weak.
Yeah.
They're just – they're going to be Mark Fields or Marcus Edmond. Edmonds had some injury issues. Fields hasn't exactly they say he's got all the talent in the world. He just hasn't mastered the playbook yet, so he's sort of lost at times, but he's got all the talent. They're just trying to figure out who that person's going to be. But, I mean, everywhere else, there's just no concern. Offensive line, receivers, running backs, and, of course, the quarterback kicking game looks definitely solid. They're never going to lose again. I stick to what I said.
Never going to lose again.
We'll be right back. We are back, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network from downtown Columbia, our Learfield studios on Main Street here in Columbia, of course, stretching out throughout Main Street, South Carolina, because we are the Sports Talk show of Main Street, South Carolina, from the coast to the mountains and all points beyond, heading east all the way to Cuba, heading west all the way to Topeka. That's where you can get us, from Cuba to Topeka. 800-956-7266. That's our phone number. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com. On Twitter, make sure you sign up for the Twitter feed at Sports Talk SC, and on Facebook, like us there at Sports Talk Radio Network. Our poll question of the week for this week: will Deshaun Watson surpass 5,000 total yards again this season? Last year, the first to go 4,000 passing and 1,000 rushing. Can he do it again? Right now, it's pretty tight voting. 52% say no. 48% say yes. Now, that doesn't mean, obviously, 5,000 yards is a high goal. If Clemson's offense pro is as explosive as we think it's going to be, it'll start with Watson, but he may not have to carry like last year, and he may have more. Of course, Wayne Gallman had a great year, 1,300 yards rushing. Adam Choice seems to be healthy and stepping up at running back. Tyshawn Dye is back there. And then you've got all those receivers. Now, he gets the credit, of course, when there's a completed pass and that turns into yardage. But they may even get more from their running game, and maybe ask him, maybe they will, maybe they won't, ask him not to run so much and risk that injury, and let's try and run the ball conventionally.
Wouldn't you? And let's face it, a lot of Clemson's offense is moving defenses side to side, then go for the big strike. And so a lot of his throws are reminiscent of San Francisco's West Coast, where it's this elongated handoff. It just happens to be a forward lateral that he passes because they want to get yards after the catch very quickly, get it out of his hands quickly, and get as much yardage as you can.
Can we move on to the more important matter of the weekend, though, that we have to get to the bottom of? What did Sean Kelly do to that tree?
Actually, no, there is now details.
Yeah, I saw that, but I didn't see anything about a tree. I saw an iPhone, a wall.
I guess tree must just fall under the law.
I mean,
I guess the law must include, like if you damage a house, a tree, or whatever.
But I didn't see a house involved in that report either. No, I mean, what I saw
was an iPhone being thrown against the wall of a building.
Right.
In 5 points.
Down in 5 points, leaving a bar. There was apparently about to be an altercation in the bar. Kelly was tossed out of the bar by the bar staff. So he's out on the street and getting into it with somebody. The police saw that, and they go up and kind of separate it. And that's when somebody says, hey, this guy, Kelly, apparently broke because the guy took a picture of him with his phone. And then the police tried to talk to him, and he said he was pleading the fifth and going to call his lawyer, and they smelled alcohol, and the rest is history.
Oh, right.
But I saw the report, though. It was like malicious injury to a tree.
Right, which led you to believe that maybe he had to relieve himself on a tree or something like that.
Yeah,
Who knows?
I was thinking of,
But, they did not. Muschamp said yesterday they're not going to suspend him for a game. Now, USC policy is when you are arrested, you are immediately suspended. However, it also says in that policy the athletic director can rescind that after consultation with the player and with the coach, and after they discover more information about the case, which I guess to their satisfaction they did, and determined that this did not rise to the level of a suspending offense, and he'll be punished within the program, whichever way Muschamp decides to punish him. Laugh as you will, because he is the punter. He's an important part of South Carolina's team.
Especially when you have an offense that doesn't have any real proven playmakers. He might be very.
When the Oakland Raiders had Ray Guy, you think they suspend him?
Yeah, I mean
he was the MVP of their Charlotte opener last year with the fake punt. Had some big kicks.
He is an important part of their team, so they need him for Vanderbilt.
Suspension.
So no suspension for him, according to Muschamp. We'll hear from Muschamp coming up a little bit later on. Also, we'll hear from Dabo Swinney. The Tigers practiced this morning. Today's their last day of two-a-days. They practiced this morning lightly, did a lot of special team stuff. The freshmen did not practice this morning because they were away going through some sort of an orientation program that the university required. Tight end DJ Greenlee was in a yellow jersey, as was corner Marcus Edmonds. Receiver Hunter Renfro, who missed Saturday's scrimmage with a hamstring, was full go today, and he returned punts part of the time. Let's see. There were several long field goal attempts. Greg Hugel looked good with his long field goal attempts, making several from over 40 yards. And several, as I mentioned, freshmen were missing because of that orientation. So we'll hear from Dabo from today, talking with the media this morning, and you can hear what he had to say about today's practice and referencing the scrimmage as well. And Muschamp, South Carolina, their scrimmage was closed to the media and the public, and there was no post-scrimmage report put out on Saturday. So all we know is what Muschamp had to say yesterday on his conference call. We'll let you hear some of that coming up in a little bit. A few other notes to pass along. Wofford starting quarterback Evan Jacks went down in their scrimmage on Saturday with a lower leg injury. And we got to get an update on that and see what they have reported there. But we just know that he went down with a lower leg injury and had to leave the scrimmage. That would not be good for them. At Auburn, defensive back Jamal Dean is out indefinitely with a knee injury. Auburn has had several injuries in their camp.
Way too much news coming out of the Auburn camp.
Yep, and there's more. Marshall Taylor, the transfer from Miami of Ohio, has yet to practice, but Gus Malzahn is hoping to get him in to practice soon. Malzahn said he's been absent due to personal reasons. Transferred from Miami, Ohio at the end of May and went through summer workouts. If he returns this week, Malzahn was unsure how much he'd be able to contribute against Clemson. Several players have missed practice time with injuries. Senior receiver Tony Stevens, freshman receiver Kyle Davis, the one-time USC commitment, and junior linebacker Trey Williams. They have all been out with various injuries at Auburn. Auburn will be off tomorrow for the start of classes. They return to practice on Wednesday. At Wake Forest, the Demon Deacons had to announce for the third time that a potential starter is sidelined. The first two on the defensive side, Zach Wary and Zeke Rodney. In fact, Rodney is missing the entire season. Former standout from, was it South Point or Northwestern? He's from Rock Hill. Now receiver Jared Crump's going to miss time because of more knee issues for him. Rod Gilmore, the ESPN football analyst, announced today that he has been diagnosed with a form of blood cancer. He is being treated, and he got it early, and he feels like he's going to be fine. But he wanted to put this story out. He'll be in Nashville for the opener between USC and Vanderbilt. So, of course, everybody will be wishing him well and hope that he has a very speedy recovery from that. And what else did I want to mention? Basketball note. Boston College has agreed to a one-year contract extension with head coach Jim Christian. My question is why? 0-18 in the ACC.
Yeah,
last season.
I'll tell you, he passed. You check all the boxes when you listen to him talk, though,
right?
And he really does get it. And I don't know what their circumstances are there, but he does seem like a nice enough guy and a smart enough guy. So maybe he's got his work cut out for him with a rebuild there, but they must feel good about some things that he's doing.
20-44 in 2 years, 0-18 in the ACC last year.
But they played hard. They played hard. If they only gave points for Hart, that would have been a much better team. They probably would have won 2 or 3 games.
All right, there you go with some notes. Of course, we'll touch on some things from over the weekend, the Olympics, things that you're watching there, the NFL preseason, of course, off and running. We're going to talk with Mick Mixon of the Panthers a little bit later on tonight about the Panthers preseason opener last week and what's ahead. And we'll be back with Dabo Swinney coming up in a moment. Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. How much Olympics did you watch over the weekend? I tell you what I had the pleasure of last night after I watched
volleyball.
Watch some of the track and field. I mean, Bolt is.
Do you like those uniforms too, Corn?
Bolt is he's special. Love to see him in an NFL uniform.
I'd love to see him actually run as fast as he can the entire race.
He can
just to see how fast he would go.
The swimming
I saw
was
a lot
great.
of NFL players talk about that. We're like, man, I would just love to see him actually run against someone as fast as he was.
Try to find somebody as fast as he is.
But the point is, I think probably if you look at it from the distance he runs, he's not a guy that's going to get off the line of scrimmage quick. He's not a quick starter.
Well, I think they could teach him.
Huh? I don't think you can teach that.
I think he could teach. Make him a tight end. Put him at tight end.
Here's the problem.
You see him at tight end? He's got the size.
Maybe.
Put a little.
Bolt?
Yeah.
Put
a little weight on it.
Skinny.
No.
Well, how tall is he?
Skinny. Tight end?
No, he'd put
Have
some
you seen an
size
NFL
on.
player?
He'd put a little size
the only
on.
thing that maybe he could do would be a special, like you put him back on the kickoff.
How
return.
tall is he?
But
About
let's see
6'4"?
the guy put on pads and a helmet and go out there.
Because I think
This happens every 4 years. We have
this
discussion. I wonder what would happen if Michael Johnson played football.
That's one of the reasons.
They said the same thing about Bob Hayes.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons he's fast is the fact that he can
Nobody's hitting him when he's coming out of the box.
If somebody's
nobody's in his way.
If somebody's shorter than he is, and they have the same speed, he's going to win every time because he's going to stride him. It's just like putting a Greyhound bus next to a Volkswagen Beetle.
I hate for the guy. What country was he from in the semifinals who faulted? You only get that's it. That's it. One fault.
4 years.
Can you imagine all that?
Whole life? He didn't get DQ'd.
Unbelievable.
Go out,
and it was clear. It was clear he jumped. But God,
and how easy would it be to jump with all your nerves?
But the funniest thing I saw was the discus throw. Because I got stuck in the barbershop and back to school haircut, so I'm sitting there and I'm watching. And one of the guys sitting in the chair was a great comment. Finally, the American comes up. He spins around, lets the discus go, and he throws it between the chain link fence and the post. And you can hear a guy at one of the chairs. Great job. Great job.
I did watch the beach volleyball last night between the U.S. and the Australian. That was some fine action going on out
Andy
there.
Murray yesterday.
Don't change the subject from the beach volleyball. Who cares about tennis? I'm talking beach volleyball.
Women's table tennis. Yeah, that is what I
Jared's
watch. Doubles,
like Mr. Table Tennis.
Nothing tops
beach
volleyball. Now there is no men's beach volleyball, right? They play indoors. They play on the hardwood.
There's men's beach volleyball.
Yeah, there's men.
Oh, they have men's. I've never seen that. I only watch it when the women.
I think
play.
he just is watching the same DVR matches over and over.
I'm very impressed with the Australian team. I know the Australian team lost to the Americans, but I was very impressed.
Still watching the one with Misty May Trainer.
I was impressed by their strategy and their approach to the action. Very impressed. Okay. All right, now the other big stuff over the weekend, we had scrimmages at USC and Clemson, and today the Tigers worked out this morning. They're going to practice again tonight. And Tiger head coach Dabo Swinney met with the media. Of course, he met with the media on Saturday to go over everything. Met with them again today to go over everything about today's practice. And also, of course, they got on the subject of the scrimmage as well. Let's pick it up with Dabo talking to reporters.
Just our last two-a-day, and as we it's really hard to believe we've been 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, it's just like you just got your head down. It's just like the next step, and you look up, and here we are. We don't have any of our freshmen out here. They're all in a university required thing that they had to be at today, so they'll be back for tonight's practice. So today was just some special teams, a lot of individual, and then just team separate. Everything was just kind of some mistakes from the scrimmage the other day, and just revisiting a few things from the last couple of weeks that we needed to cover.
The other day on the long touchdown runs, did you go back and look see what exactly happened on those plays? What busted? Somebody did fit the gap right? What happened on there?
Of course. We went back and looked at it. It's a combination of everything. Bad angles, missed tackles, guys jumping around. their blocks and creating big gaps, and just a combination of things. And then some deep, but they just getting off blocks. So it's a little bit of everything.
Reflect on the last 5 years and going from first ACC title year to building on next year. Brent's hiring and his presence and his staff, with his coaching and his recruiting, what has he done to transform that side of the ball and then with it, the entire team?
Well, he's done a great job. And it's not just Brent. I mean, Marion's been here with me for, he was here before Brent came. And Dan's been here with me the whole time. And Mike, I think we hired a year after Brent. But I think that we've had on both sides is the biggest thing. There's no question about that. And then just Brent as an individual is a great football coach. And he's an excellent recruiter. I mean, he loves to, we've got a great recruiting staff. We have a group of guys that a lot of pride in the evaluation process and who we are as a program. And, we spend a lot of time on that part of it. And, sometimes, I've been around coordinators in my career that didn't like to recruit. It was like, recruiting, what? We got to go. We ain't got time for that. We got to, and it ain't about, everybody's got good X's and O's and everybody's got good coaches, but it's getting the great players. That's what, that's your lifeline.
For the last 5 years, this offense has been among the best in the country. Did last year sort of amplify you, as a championship team? You go as far as that defense takes you, not just during the season, but especially when you get to bowl.
I think it's more than that. I think you go as far as your team will take you. I've never been into the defense wins championships. Teams win championships. That's it. Teams win championships. In 2010 we had a heck of a defense, but we couldn't score. We could move the ball, but we couldn't score. We had a great defense, but we weren't very good. It's a team effort to win, at the highest level. And I know that's a great cliche to say, but I don't think offense wins championships. I don't think defense wins championships. I don't think special teams win championships. Teams win championships.
Has anything stood out to you the last week or so in camp that maybe, especially with that other corner spot?
Today's first day since our scrimmage on Saturday, and obviously we were very disappointed in the production at corner. I wasn't real pleased with anybody defensively the other day, to be honest with you. Jadar, I thought Jadar did well. Trey Lamar was another guy I was very pleased with. Other than that, I thought he made a couple plays, but I just thought as a whole defensively we just gave into it Saturday and have our mindset right and like I've said before, if you show up on our practice field, whether you're the offense or the defense, and you ain't got your mind right, you're gonna get exposed. And that's what happened Saturday. It's exactly what happened. They're trying to survive instead of thrive, and got their butts kicked. And I've seen just the opposite, where the offense didn't quite bring the mentality they need, the defense did, and offense got exposed. I've seen both on our practice field, and that's a good thing, because like I said, it creates, you can't hide. You can't hide out here. It creates the type of practice environment that you really need to have to be a really good football team. The biggest thing right now is getting that other corner spot. And I think we got the right guys. Mark Fields is as talented a guy as you're going to find. It's just really him just becoming that day in and day out dog, just being a dog, man. Every day, just fanatical about his discipline and his technique of the position and the details of the position, and not just thinking he can just line up and be an athlete. And those days are over. He's got to become a technician, and he's done a lot of good things himself, but. When you take your foot off the pedal just a little bit against the guys we got out here, it's usually not very pretty.
Dabo Swinney from this morning with the Tigers going back out on the practice field. Now, tonight they're going to be a little more physical than they were this morning, and they're going to get after it a little heavier in their practice this evening. We'll be right back. Recruiting right around the corner. It's Sports Talk Monday night, South Carolina Radio Network. We are back at Sports Talk. South Carolina Radio Network. K-Mac has departed for USC practice. He'll join us from there at 7:30 to give us an update on what he's seeing with the Gamecocks. That practice is now underway. Began at around 6:30 over at Williams-Brice Stadium. Of course, it is open to the public. If you're not aware of that, you've got time to get out there and see a little bit of the Gamecocks in action. Let's get into recruiting now, because we got some big stuff to talk about tonight, beginning with defensive back A.J. Terrell of Atlanta. Said Sunday night he has made his decision and he has notified the coaching staff of his plans. So he has silently committed to somebody. He's not told the other two teams that they're not getting him, but he has told one team they are getting him. He'll let the public know on Friday afternoon with a video on Twitter. He made his decision from Clemson, USC, and Florida. Of the school he chose, he said, quote, "I really just like what the school has to offer and the coaches and the family side, the academics, and where I have a chance to play." End quote. He did not give me any hint of his choice. However, he didn't visit anywhere over the weekend. The previous weekend, he was at Clemson with his father, his younger brother. So the Tigers got the last visit. He also visited Clemson for a camp in June, and he was there for the all-in cookout in July. He did visit USC in late July before the start of practice. Indications point towards Clemson with him. Defensive lineman Romello Martin of Brooklyn, New York, made an unofficial visit to USC Saturday. Did not make it for the scrimmage because his flight got in late, but he did get in time to see the campus and tour the facilities and meet with the coaches. He met with Will Muschamp, Lance Thompson, and he heard more from them about their need for him in the program. He does have USC in the top 10, and the visit gave him a chance to compare USC with some other favorites like Boston College, Rutgers, and Florida. He said he puts the visit right up there with Florida. He said those are the two best visits he's had. He's still working on setting up his official visits and is deciding on his 5. He does believe USC will get one of those 5 visits, and he feels Gamecocks sit in his top 5 at this point. The rest of his top 10 are Florida, Tennessee, Rutgers, Florida State, Kansas State, Miami, Louisville, Penn State, and Syracuse. USC and Clemson target defensive back Jamias Williams of Loganville, Georgia. He may be more of a USC target now than Clemson, with Clemson apparently zeroing in on A.J. Terrell. So it may be more USC in this case, but now Georgia, because Williams went to Georgia unofficially over the weekend. He said that meeting with, this was on Twitter, Kirby and Mel, Kirby Smart, Mel Tucker, made the UGA visit well worth a trip. He's announcing on the 27th, Tennessee and Ohio State have also been on his short list. Defensive back Amir Speed of Jacksonville trimmed his list to USC, North Carolina, Michigan, Michigan State, Nebraska, Georgia, Virginia Tech, and Auburn. 2018 receiver DeMarcus Gregory of Burns was at USC Saturday, said the visit was great, was offered by USC in June. Defensive back Chris Bell, Hendersonville, Tennessee, was at Missouri Saturday. He was offered by USC in June. Clemson target running back DeAndre Swift of Philadelphia announces his decision on September 1st. He's down to Clemson, Penn State, Florida State, Georgia, and Alabama. USC target receiver Justin Marshall, Covington, Georgia, has moved his commitment announcement to August 31st from today. Originally planned to do it today, but says he needs more time. He's been favoring Louisville ahead of USC, Maryland, Tennessee, and Auburn. Running back Ty Chandler of Nashville, Tennessee, committed to Tennessee today, was offered by USC in February. 2018 quarterback Cade Fortin, Sewanee, Georgia, committed to Texas A&M, had drawn interest from a USC and visited earlier this year. USC today offered 2019 receiver Trey Knox of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. In basketball, 6'3" point guard Devontae Shula from Irmo goes back to Oak Hill Academy in Virginia in September and should have a spectacular senior season. Coming off the bench a lot last year, sharing time in a loaded backcourt, he still averaged 10 points per game, 57% from the floor, 41% from 3, 2.4 assists, and nearly 2 steals per game. If he were in South Carolina this year, he'd be considered maybe the top prospect in the state. Maybe some would say the Felton kid from, well, he was in Mullins. Now he's going to a school. I think he's going to Gray Collegiate.
Jalik? Is that
Jalik Felton, yeah.
Okay.
He's probably considered the top guy in the state. Anyway, or it could be the big guy. It could be Nick Claxton up there at Legacy Charter in Greenville. State's got some good players this year, next year. Anyway, Schuler tells us today he's got his 5 official visits in mind. They are USC, Southern Cal, Western Kentucky, Louisville, and Oklahoma. Has not yet set the dates. Might go over to USC tomorrow, just for the heck of it, since he's in town. He and Frank Martin are building a good relationship, he says, and he likes Martin, likes the way he coaches, likes his style of play. Shooting guard Peyton Broughton of London, Kentucky, committed to Eastern Kentucky today. Clemson was one of his finalists. Kansas today offered 2019 6'6" Christian Brown of AC Flora. He's big time. In baseball, John Whittle, Big Spur, reported over the weekend USC commitment right-hander Brady Scott of Powder Springs, Georgia, plans to explore his football options at the possible expense of his baseball offer from the Gamecocks. So basically, I guess you put him in the decommitted category because now he's more interested in looking at football. He has 8 football offers, including Georgia Tech, Florida State, Wake Forest, and Mississippi State. He's had some arm issues, and that might be a major reason why he's thinking more seriously about going the football route, knowing that maybe his arm is not responding. He's not going to be able to pitch at the SEC level. So that's another one coming off the 2017 baseball commitment list for USC. All right, there you go with recruiting for now. Of course, we are always checking on recruiting, and you can check it out as well on our website, sportstalksc.com, and on Twitter, use the hashtag STRecruiting to follow along with us. We're coming up on the top of the hour here on Sports Talk. In our next hour, Will Muschamp will be along. We'll hear from him. We'll catch up with K-Mac out at the USC practice at Williams-Brice Stadium, the first of 3 straight days of open practices for the Gamecocks. A preview of Georgia Tech tonight, the bumbling, stumbling wreck that they were last year. But you know what? You know why they're going to be better? There's one reason and one reason alone. Andy Demetra will be on the call for Georgia Tech football in the fall. Y'all. Got to be better. We'll have that for you at 7 on the Panthers at 7:45.
They'll be better because this is their click year. Remember, after a bad year, Georgia Tech usually turns it around.
Right.
Next year.
Right. This is their bounce back year. I see reasons why they will bounce back. The quarterback is back, and he's really good. Is it Justin Thomas? It's something Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good. They have a team of relative unknown players. They don't have a lot of big names on that team. Is a indictment or maybe a testament to the style of offense they run. But let's face it, your big time recruits, those guys, they don't want to go where you're running the wishbone or their version of the wishbone.
Here's the interesting factor, though. If I'm not mistaken, until Megatron decided to retire, Georgia Tech had the 2 highest paid wide receivers in the NFL.
That is the most mind-boggling. Really think about it. How did Georgia Tech produce 2 of the best NFL receivers of the era at the same time?
Now, we don't throw it deep often, but because we run this option, you'll be wide open when you get out at maybe 50 yards away from the line.
And if I'm not mistaken, the Thomas kid originally committed to South Carolina, Georgia Tech, and became a star in the
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Back we are, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Phil Kornbluth, the Professor Tom Hayes with you now. K-Max over at USC practice. Coming up in a moment, we'll hear from Will Muschamp. Here's some notes being tweeted out from the USC practice session from various reporters. Javon Charleston now wearing number 12 after switching from receiver to DB. Stephen Montack is in yellow over full pads. He took a hard hit in the scrimmage Saturday. Sean Kelly is there, but he is not in pads. Don't know if he's kicking or just standing there watching. Sky Moore is there as an observer. Of course, he is out for the season with the neck injury. Let's see. Offenses are working on both ends of the field at Williams-Brice to start things off. McElwain was with the first team, and Orth was leading the other team. Debo Samuel, full go. Hamstring is no longer wrapped. That's certainly good news for USC. Darius English, he broke down the stretching session today. They have a different player do that with each practice.
Okay.
Perry Orth taking his first snaps. Elliott Fryer with a 38-yarder, first points of the day. Now it says here they've started for real. Orth with the first team at quarterback, Fenton and Lamons at the corners, Biggs at the safeties. McElwain came out second at quarterback with the twos, with David Williams with him at running back. Alexander Wozniak, he is the walk-on place kicker, hit a 35-yarder. He's got a very strong leg from what I saw. There you go. Oh, there may be a few more here. Hang on. Let's see here. A.J. Turner running number one running back. And let's see. What else? That's all we got for you. Right now. From Missouri, Coach Barry Odom announced that running back Trayvon Walters has been dismissed from the team. He was arrested over the weekend. And he had some pretty serious stuff going on. It wasn't just, stumbling out of a bar. He had some issues. And there you go. That's some stuff from over USC way as practice is ongoing. K-Mac will check in with us at the bottom of the hour. Now, they had the big scrimmage on Saturday inside the stadium, closed to everybody. No details were released from USC until Will Muschamp talked with the media on Sunday. If you didn't get a chance to check it out on our website, sportstalksc.com, we're going to give you that chance right now. Here is some of what Muschamp had to say.
From the scrimmage yesterday, I had some positives on both sides of the ball, but still have a long ways to go. We really do. Had about 120 scrimmage snaps, goal line situation, coming out, red zone, move the ball, 1 minute, finish the fourth quarter situation. All really good things to put our players through. Got exposed to a lot of things. Also in the kicking game as well. The quarterback situation, I thought all three guys did some really good things. Extended drives, made some plays on third down. For the most part, took pretty good care of the ball. But no one's head and shoulders above anybody right now. So we're going to continue to rep the way we've been repping. And hopefully we'll have this thing before we kick it off there September 1st. The receiver position, Debo Samuel played extremely well. Had a really well-contested catch against Rashad Fenton on the sideline. I thought was a elite, big-time play against a very good corner. Jamari Smith continues to do well. But we had 8 drops, not all at the wide receiver position, but a couple at tight end and a couple at running back. And we can't afford to have that many drop passes. We were accurate with the football for the most part. And those guys got to finish on some plays. Need to play better in the offensive line. I think that Sean was very displeased with their performance, and that's certainly one of the strengths of our football team. And they've had a really good game to this point, and wish we got a little more out of them. Nothing that was terribly bad, but we certainly need to improve. I thought we ran the ball decent. I thought our backs ran the ball hard. On defense, Kelsey Griffin and Taylor Stallworth had two really good scrimmages, the best since I've been here as far as their production was concerned. TJ Holloman's had a great camp. He's been very productive, and he's playing multiple spots for us. Finn was we are at linebacker right now, and doing a really nice job. And the secondary was, they're okay, not to be confused with good.
Will, David Carroll, and Charleston, did you hope to have any more clarity on the QB situation after yesterday?
Well, it's a very closely contested battle, and certainly you would have liked to have had somebody go out there and be error-free. But we were a little, not as error-free as I like to be at the position. And but again, really for the first time of an extended time being off the field and having the guys play and make decisions. But again, I'm pleased with where we are. I mean, there's nothing that they did that was not unexpected, that as far as from a negative standpoint.
With your three quarterbacks yesterday, did any one of them lead the team on an extended drive and get them in the end zone or get them on the scoreboard?
All of them had extended drives. Both Barry and Brandon we spotted the ball on the -2 yard line, and both of them took it across the 50, and both ended up on field goal drives. So, no, it was outstanding. And Jake had a drive where we started on about our 28 and then took it all the way down for a touchdown. So, no, they all three had extended drives, and did a really nice job. And there was far more positives than there were negatives at that position. And as I've said before, the future of that position is outstanding.
Will, this is Josh. After Sean Staley, is it well, or have you decided?
No, he won't miss any game time. I'm handling that within the program.
Will, this is Reggie Davis. Yeah, just talk about the open practices for the next 3 nights and what your fans will get out of tomorrow night's workout.
Well, we got such a young team. It'll be the first time, that these guys have been in this kind of environment for a lot of these, especially true freshmen. And so I think it's important for our fans, first of all, because we got the most loyal fan base in the country. I asked Rodriguez Davis that, who's the most people you've played in front of? He said, probably about 8,000. I said, there'll be that many in the bathroom at halftime, bud. I said, so we got to get you out there in front of the crowd and see how things go. And so, it's that point of time where you're in camp, you're about to start school, and we need a little energy, we need a little juice, and our fans will bring it. So we're going to be in the stadium on Monday just to save our fields more than anything. We're going to be on the practice facility on Tuesday and back in the stadium on Wednesday. And I think it's going to be great for our fans. I think it'll be really good for our football team and give us a little juice and energy.
All right, there you go. Some of Will Muschamp from his conference call yesterday, and they moved some players around as well. Darius Whitfield was moved from the defensive side to the offensive side. They want to give him a shot on the offensive line, see if he can help out there. And Javon Charleston was moved from wide receiver to DB. They think that he really likes him. He thinks he's a very physical player, and he had been doing well on special. And so they wanted to find a place where he could play. And so they moved him over to defense. And I imagine he's going to run with the safeties back there where they need some help and need some depth. What else did he say of interest? A walk-on, Chandler Farrell, who's from down in the Charleston area. His dad played at South Carolina as an offensive lineman back in the day, and he's going to play this year. They like him as a walk-on offensive lineman. They like him. Muschamp said he plays the game the way they want to play it. And so he will he will be with the team. He will travel with the team to Vanderbilt. So Aaron Thompson has helped on the defensive line as a true freshman. Feels good about him. Also feels good about Wanham and Smith and Blackshear. Says English has had a good camp at the Buck end. Jordan Diggs has been productive at safety and nickel. Today he's running with the first team safeties in practice. So those are just some of the major notes from Muschamp. They were not all that happy with the play of the offensive line. Sean Elliott was displeased with the play of the offensive line.
Got to get on him. Whitfield played some offensive line in high school. Javon Charleston is from Illinois, but his name is Charleston. And I guess that frees up, Fenton to play corner full-time?
Fenton will be a full-time corner. Maybe not so much at nickel, maybe some, but definitely they can't afford to take him away from corner because he's such a good cover corner. Be right back. And we're back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, 800-956-7266, the number if you want to join in on the program and talk about what you've heard from Dabo Swinney and what you've heard from Will Muschamp tonight and what you've heard from us as well. 800-956-7266. Our email is talkback@sportstalksc.com and on Twitter at SportsTalkSC. Tomorrow night, back on the road for the Palmetto Pigskin Tour. Already been to South Carolina State, to Newberry and Presbyterian. Tomorrow night, we go to Benedict College, just down the road from us here in downtown Columbia. First time to Benedict for the Palmetto Pigskin Tour. Then on Wednesday, Charleston Southern. Looking forward to being there with the Buccaneers. They've got an early game. They open up on national television at North Dakota State in a big FCS season opening showdown. Two teams nationally ranked. Charleston Southern, of course, in some new territory for them in that in the last couple of years they've emerged as a Big South and national contender and now ranked in the preseason. While North Dakota State, of course, they pretty much set the standard for FCS football now.
They win one more championship. They're gonna boost them up to FCS and get the heck.
No, they're in FBS.
FBS, yeah. Get the heck out of the way. That rookie quarterback from the Eagles, I think he broke some ribs the other night.
Mm-hmm. So we got those two coming up. Thursday, we'll be in Charleston once again, kind of an unofficial tour stop. We'll visit with some Citadel people, but we're actually there to play golf with the Citadel Brigadier Club. But we'll have some folks over from football administration as we tee it up at Patriots Point, which is a very nice municipal golf course right there in Mount Pleasant, right on the water, with a par 3 that when you walk out on the green, you can see all the points of Charleston, all the different little land points of Charleston, plus the entire Charleston Harbor going in and out. It's kind of neat.
That's pretty.
Yeah,
so you
can watch your golf ball fly into the water in many different directions.
So you have your yearly interview. Where's Les Robinson? Is he going to be there?
Well, he's at Lander.
Yeah.
He's walking the shores of Lake Lander or whatever is up there that he can walk along some waterfront. Used to love sitting with him at the Citadel Beach House during the show, late afternoon, early evening, and watching the big freighters going in and out of Charleston Harbor and the cruise ships and all that. You could watch it from the porch. Of course, the beach house suffered some damage in a fire few months ago. So they're going through some remodeling and some reconstruction there. So that's what's ahead this week. Benedict and Charleston Southern. And then the next week we really get busy. Furman, North Greenville, the Citadel, and Coastal Carolina. And then we get to game week and we wrap up the tour with Wofford and Limestone, our first trip to Limestone. And North Greenville, our first trip to North Greenville. All inclusive Palmetto Pigskin Tour. All schools, not counting USC and Clemson, of course, because we do them every day, but every other school in the state playing football, we're going to be there to check in on them here on Sports Talk. So looking forward to
turn the corner, isn't it?
Well, they would like to. And they've got two really good quarterbacks and some other good players, but their schedule, their opening couple of weeks, they got to go to Michigan State to open the season. They got to play Coastal Carolina, I believe it is, early in the year. It's their schedule, once again, is stacked against them. Make
the players walk over hot coals barefoot before they can get started.
All right, 800-956-7266 is the phone number here on Sports Talk. If you would like to jump on the phone line, we do have some open lines for you. K-Mac coming as well as a preview of Georgia Tech. K-Mac over at USC practice. We'll catch up with him, see what's happening with the Gamecocks. But we're just sort of at that stage now. Everybody is practice 15, 16. You're turning that page. Classes start this week. Other things now start to come into play. You know, for a couple of weeks, coaches have had the players secluded just to them, nothing to bother them. You could focus on everything related to football. Now classes start this week and other things start to creep in. So the job of the coach gets a little more difficult because he's got to keep those players focused and looking ahead to the opening game. And, you know, you want to get off to a good start, play your best football. Well, not your best football of the season, but play good football to open up, and then you hope to build from there. You know, South Carolina going on the road, Clemson going on the road, tough challenges for each at their respective levels right now. Ordinarily, you wouldn't think Vanderbilt would be all that big of a deal for South Carolina. It's a very big deal this year, very big deal.
When they were going good, as well as Georgia, Vandy gave both teams fits. I mean, Vandy was not an easy touch when you played them, especially defensively. We'll see if they have any offense this time out because they had none last year.
Looking at a picture from USC's practice from GoGamecocks.com, the crowd looks like a little short of 70,000, but and they got a nice smattering of fans sitting on the home side of things, if you consider the home side, the press box side. Looks like maybe 200 or 300 in that particular picture, sitting grouped together in the stands there. Brian Edwards had a touchdown reception. He is going to be a star at South Carolina. I think he's got star written all over him.
Tremendous size. You know, the interesting thing is we talked about potential, and one of the good, when you have talent, sometimes it's not spectacular talent, but it's guys who, for whatever reason, don't look like they should be playing that position. Edwards sometimes look at the other players, and I know he's fairly shorter than you would average basketball player, but he looks like a basketball player out there. And the guy you talked about from Georgia, from Colquitt High School, was it Keel Pollard?
Pollard.
That from when I first saw a picture of him, I said H-back. I said, there's no way in the world he's going to play wide receiver, and I was right. He's there, but exceptional at moving and running patterns at a guy that size, 235 pounds.
He's a big guy. He's a very big guy, but you know, he has got some talent, and he's obviously able to come in as a freshman and make an impact right away at a position where maybe they don't need they got some good players, but I would think that, like you mentioned, H-back, they'll find a way to get him the ball. They got to find a way to get the ball to Hayden Hurst, Casey Crosby, Kyle Markway when he's back healthy. They got some good players at that position. Jump to the phones. We go to where we headed there, Jar March.
Yeah, we got Steeny sitting right here in Columbia.
Who?
Steeny.
Speedy. He goes by Speedy, but we call him Cockett, and he doesn't. You know, you gotta have a little transliteration there to understand him. What's up, Cockett?
How you doing, man? How you doing? You enjoyed your vacation? Because I called and said you was on vacation.
That was 2 weeks ago. Been back for 2 weeks. Nice of you to listen.
Well, since y'all put me on the back end of the bus, like y'all do those Democrats, that kind of delete me from not calling as much. But
we didn't put you on the back end of the bus. We put you on the back end of the bus. The only reason you might be in the back end of the bus is because you walk back there.
No, because y'all put me back there. And one thing I was giving a call, you know, I have stated many, many times that Carolina's going to win 8 games. I don't know what y'all was with all this media saying they ain't going to win that many games. But I'm looking for Carolina to win 8 games this season, and I'm looking for them to go down to Tiger Town and beat up on them Tigers. So, I mean, really, I mean, a lot of people overlooking this Auburn football team. I mean, like, you know, like Clemson is supposed to, you know, be top liberal, you know, and ACC is supposed to dominate everybody. You know, there's always a saying, you know, Clowney had that last year. He didn't really perform because he's more concerned about getting hurt. Do you think that same kind of scenario will not be in the quarterback's mind?
Nope, not one bit. We'll be right back.
last season and took a huge step back from where it was in 2014. The team went from having only 3 losses. Georgia Tech surprised fans in the wrong way last season and
And we're back to Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. We continue with our SEC, ACC previews. Here's Carson looking at Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech surprised fans in the wrong way last season and took a huge step back from where it was in 2014. The team went from having only 3 losses in 2014 to having only 3 wins in 2015. 8-year coach Paul Johnson has his sights set on returning to the way things were in the past.
Certainly last year didn't end the way that we would like for it to, or the way anyone thought it was going to be. And I think we have a little added incentive this year to bounce back to where we're accustomed to being. I was talking to the players. I think that we just finished our 8th season at Georgia Tech as a coaching staff. In 6 of the 8 years, we've either finished 1st or 2nd in the Coastal Division. Had the opportunity to play in 3 ACC championship games and a couple of Orange Bowls. So that's the standard that we're looking to get back to, and what we have our sights set.
Redshirt senior quarterback Justin Thomas will return for his final season. He started all 14 games of his sophomore and junior years. Last season, Thomas threw for just over 1,300 yards with 13 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. receptions. He completed only 41% of his passes, but he did lead the NCAA in yards per completion with just under 18. Expect to see backup quarterback Matthew Johnson get some playing time this season as well. Along with Thomas, the Yellow Jackets have 15 other starters returning.
We have a good returning nucleus. We lost a lot of players last year due to injury, which forced us to play a lot of freshmen. So the good news is those guys are back, and they'll be sophomores, and they have some playing experience. So looking forward to going to Dublin in the first game, September 3rd, against Boston College, and getting the conference season started.
Thomas will have some experienced weapons around him at the wide receiver position, including Brad Stewart, Antonio Messick, and Mikael Lance-Davis. A brief look at last season's stats may make it seem like Tech improved defensively, but the team needs to create more turnovers like it has for years in the past. In 2014, the Yellow Jackets forced 29 fumbles, which fell to 17 last season. Likewise, with interceptions, Georgia Tech had twice many in the 2014 season with 18, as it did in 2015 with 9. Luckily for the defensive line, ends Keyshawn Freeman and Roderick Chungang will be back, as well as Patrick Gamble at the nose tackle position. Johnson mentioned earlier that his team will get its season underway in the interesting location of Dublin, Ireland, where they'll face Boston College September 3rd at 7 a.m. And just like last season, the Yellow Jackets had the 17th hardest schedule in the NCAA, with 8 opponents who went to bowl games in 2015. One of those opponents is Miami, who they are slated to take on at home on October 1st. Johnson said he's excited to have Mark Richt in the league, but he isn't nervous about facing him.
We're excited to have Mark in the league. Certainly, he brings a lot of tradition or whatever. We've struggled with Miami the past few years without Mark, so unless he's going to throw it or carry it, I'm more worried about their quarterback than I am him. But certainly he brings some credibility to their program and to the conference.
Some of Georgia Tech's other opponents include Clemson in Week 5, at UNC in Week 10, and finishing off the season at in-state rival Georgia on November 26th. For Sports Talk, I'm Carson Mason.
All right, Carson Ova, thank you very much for that. Will the Yellow Jackets get the sting back into their game this year? Time will tell. I know this. They have their way with Clemson in Atlanta pretty much every year. But this Clemson team, now 2 years ago, remember, Deshaun Watson got hurt. Mm-hmm. And in came Cole Stout, and he just had a miserable experience, and Georgia Tech won. That shouldn't happen this year. I'm assuming everybody's healthy. I mean, Clemson should go in there and take care of business, as I expect they will this year, because they're never losing again.
Just can't let that option get cranked up, though.
Well, but you see, Venables and those guys, they know how to play that option. And what do they care if they give up a few points? Because their offense is going to come right back and score in 2 minutes, in 3 minutes. In fact, my over-under for the Auburn game for Clemson scoring its first touchdown will probably be in their first possession, I would say, within play 4. I've already told you how it's going to start. They're going to come out. They're going to throw a quick pass to Artavis Scott. Second play is going to be Gallman running up the middle. Third play is going to be a play action to Gallman and they're going to look deep down the field for Mike Williams for a score. Third or fourth play, probably third play, I predict. Mark it down so that when it happens, you'll know where you heard it first. Meantime, out at USC, has anybody caught a pass, got a first down, scored a touchdown?
No touchdowns yet. These are practices, Corn. We're talking about practice right now. We're literally talking about practice.
Literally or figuratively?
Literally. This is a literal practice that we're talking about right now. Not a scrimmage, not a game, practice.
Yeah. Well, what have you seen? That's, we send you out there for a reason.
I never know what I've seen. I'm watching, they're running plays here. They definitely, watching the tempo, as you know, Corn, you've been out and seen some of these. The tempo of these Will Muschamp practices are definitely a little more fast and furious than the Steve Spurrier practices. But they've been rotating the quarterbacks in and out, all the running backs in and out, and kind of getting everybody equal reps in that regard. Now, I wasn't out here at the very beginning. I was, of course, in the studio there for the first portion of the workout. So I don't know who went out first, but I have seen a little bit of all three of the quarterbacks right now. I actually saw Jake Bentley throw a real nice ball. Of course, it was dropped.
Yeah.
By Pelton, but it was a really nice pass down the sideline that hit him right in the hand. Should have been caught. Turner's out there running around. He sure is small. I mean, he looks like somebody's kid got out on the field.
Huh.
He's running around out there, and they're just kind of going at it. There are probably about maybe 1,000, 1,500 fans here that have made their way into the stadium.
Yeah, before did catch a touchdown pass. And it was Orth went out with the first team first, and then McElwain went out to following him. You see anything of note from either one of those two guys so far?
No, I mean, I've seen McElwain running the offense a little bit. He throws the ball. They do a lot more of the zone read type stuff with him. I mean, you can tell that there's more of an emphasis with him running the ball than when Perry Orth is in there, and that's no big surprise. We know that he is a threat guy. And, they're rotating some guys. I actually saw Jonathan Walton just bust through the line and make a good stop on the running back. I don't know if it was David Williams, but he came in there and got tackled to the ground, but there was a good thud there as he burst through the line. And now they're just doing basically just drill stuff, working on punt returns and different things now. They're not even going 11 on 11 now.
Did you notice if Sean Kelly he's there? He wasn't in pads from what I read, but is he participating at all?
I have not seen him. I haven't actually looked for him. So no, I couldn't. I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't looked.
How much are they charging for concessions? Have you tried to buy something?
No, I didn't go by the concession stand yet. I did smell some popcorn when I was walking up, though, and it did smell mighty tasty.
Yeah.
It was tempting, but I'm working. I have stuff to do here. Didn't want to get caught up eating popcorn and drinking water.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit here and just sweat it out in the stands with the rest of the people.
Okay, man. We appreciate it. We'll look for a Gamecock post-game practice stuff, or post-practice stuff, not game, post-practice stuff up on the website tonight, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much. K-Mac, Kevin McCrary over at the USC practice this afternoon. So, yeah, it's practices to the common eye, just a bunch of people running around doing things they're supposed to be doing, picking out who's doing what. That's more for the trained eye of a coach to really know. Mm-hmm. And of course they go back, and that's why they watch and they film everything. If it were so easy on the naked eye, with the naked eye, they wouldn't film everything, but they go back and watch it, 100 times and look at this particular play or that particular person and break it down and decide who busted here and who missed a play here and that sort of thing. Right. So, yeah, I've been to a gazillion practices in my time and always walk out of there wondering, what did I just see?
I want to see the practice when the people are out there and see when they really practice.
Yeah, supposedly this is the real practice. All right, we'll be back. Mix and voice answers coming up. Yeah, one of the favorite tunes of everybody's. Monday Night Football, not too far away. Exhibition season continuing. Panthers opening up their exhibition games, preseason games, however you want to refer to them, last week. And we have the voice of the Panthers with us, Mick Mixon, back with us for another run of Monday Night Football talk with us here on Sports Talk. Good evening, my friend. How are you?
Corn, I'm great, man. I'm sorry I missed you on Friday. That was my bad, but looking forward to catching up with you about Panther football. What are you hearing in your part of the world about what kind of team this might be?
I think everybody's pretty excited after what happened last year. I know there's a little bit of concern about losing Josh Norman, but on the other hand, Kelvin Benjamin is back and appears to be healthy. One question. You answer that question.
You are the king of sports. You're his eminence of sports in the Palmetto State.
No. You are the prince of the Panthers. You are the czar of Charlotte. That didn't rhyme with Charlotte. Anyway, you saw him play up there the other night. How'd they look to you?
First team looked good. Cam Newton was very sharp early on. First team O-line, running backs. First team defense stoned him, forced a 3-and-out. A little dicey after that. Edge control was a problem. Corn. Some of these young D linemen kind of got sucked inside, got dirty eyes, got fooled, and then next thing you know, they're chasing the play around the edge. But all fixable problems. This looks like a deep and a talented football team again. So we'll see. The next game for the Panthers, the next preseason game is Saturday afternoon, a rare Saturday afternoon game. We go to Tennessee. I know the coaches will be looking for more improvement from week 1 to week 2, even though it's on the preseason.
See that they made a personnel move today. They waived Swayze Waters, the punter, and signed Casey Redfern. And give us some insight on that move.
Redfern has been 2 years with Jacksonville, 2014 and 2015, played at Wofford, as you say, can also kick as well as punt. And Swayze Waters was 29. I think Waters had a big leg, Corn, but he just wasn't as consistent. Mike Cyphers has had an amazing career, but he's dealing with a little bit of a sports hernia, something like that has flared up. So the Panthers are just looking for that consistent punter, and I'm not sure if it'll be Redfern or Cyphers or a punter to be named later. That's part of the way of the world in the NFL.
Sure.
A lot of veterans on this team now, Mick. Does Ron Rivera have to have the talk, or they already realize they're the hunted and they have to play maybe better than they did last year in order to get back to where they were and get back to the Super Bowl?
Great question. It's been the whole focus of camp, really, is that hunter versus hunted approach. And the fact that you cannot try to pick up where you left off. That'll be death to the 2016 Carolina Panthers. Panthers aren't defending anything. This is not a continuation. It's a whole new team with new challenges. And I think that Coach Rivera has done a nice job of that. The other thing is the evolution of NFL defenses. They're not going to just let Cam Newton keep doing what he's doing. The defenses always evolve. So won't it be fascinating to see how, particularly in the division, the Panthers are defended this year?
Kelvin Benjamin, having him back has got to make Cam Newton very excited with the way Funchess has come on, gives them 2 big targets out there. How did Benjamin look to you in the game the other night?
He still feels fat. He's like, the men learn early on that when the women say, "Do I look fat?" or we try to learn how to respond to that.
You had wait a second, Stick. You've never known what it's like to feel fat. Okay, don't act like you know what you're talking about.
No, nothing worse than an ectomorph with a gut. That's a terrible look. But Benjamin is trying to get to where he feels light and he looks fantastic. It's just the last piece of the puzzle is a mental thing. And Corn, your boy Demir Bird, he's been one of these stories of minicamp, OTAs, and now training camp.
How are they going to use him? I mean, obviously wide receiver, but I mean, how much could he be a featured receiver in the offense?
Well, I don't know about a featured receiver, but definitely could make the team. And the Panthers need a sock in the return game, and he's got the juice. I mean, they don't want Ted Ginn Jr. Returning every punt. I think they'd like to have that kind of be limited. Maybe have Ted Ginn Jr. out there when the other punter's backed up, but maybe, kickoff return, punt return, there's a chance for Damiere Byrd to make his mark on special teams.
All right, and what's happening at that corner spot vacated by Norman? Who seems to be taking control there?
Worley, Bradbury, and Sanchez also. Worley is young. He's only 21. He won't turn 22 till February of next year. Bradbury's looked really good, wearing number 24, same uniform number as Josh Norman. He's long, physical. He's looked really good. Sanchez learning how to play that slot corner, the nickel spot. So it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of youth out there, but like Branch Rickey said, I prefer the errors of enthusiasm to the wisdom of indifference.
Yes, he did say that. And Greg Olson, no practice today, back spasms, something that sprung up on him yesterday. Are they concerned? Could that be an issue going into the season?
Well, they'd be very concerned if this were the regular season. I think the thinking is we pretty much know what the 88 is capable of. I think he's a good bet to make the team. So I say get him on anti-inflammatories and get him in the cool tub and let that inflammation calm down. What do you think?
I would do just that. And I give a real good deep massage somewhere. That's exactly what I would go do. Mick, we look forward to a great run of Monday nights with you here on Sports Talk. As always, we really appreciate you taking time out for the little people and sharing your wit and wisdom with us.
We need to talk off air. We gotta have a talk about who the little people really are. That's me, man. You're the king.
All right, my friend. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good week.
Sounds good, buddy. You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Mick Mixon talking about somebody being what it's like to be overweight would be like me talking like what it feels like to dunk a basketball. I mean, neither one of us know the experience. The guy's never weighed over 140 pounds in his life.
Yeah, he's very thin.
Very thin.
He's got a very active metabolism.
I'm sure he does.
The kind of guy that can inhale pizzas all night and they don't
makes
gain
you
a
sick.
pound.
I know. And I walked by a Pizza Hut and add 10 pounds. I mean, it makes sickening.
But, this is going to be a fun year because, let's face it, Drew Brees in New Orleans is not going to take what happened last year lying down. I think Jameis Winston has proved he was a good choice for Tampa. I think Tampa is very dangerous, and I think the Falcons have improved. So that whole division, that's going to be a war every Sunday in that division.
I just got a text back from K-Mac about Sean Kelly is out there, did not get dressed, so he's not participating in practice. So there could be some sort of punishment situation going on in there as a result of his arrest, at least related to practice. He has a hearing, by the way. According to court records, he has a hearing on August 24th. So
okay,
maybe they'll, plea bargain something
1 week before the season. 8 days before the
maybe
season.
They'll plea bargain something down from what was it he did? He threw the most
assault against a cell phone.
The worst thing he did was take a guy's cell phone and throw it up against a wall because he got mad because the guy was going to take his picture. Well, he should. I mean, look, I wasn't there. I'm not passing judgment. I don't know. Maybe the guy was talking smack to him or something, but it's best just to walk away and leave it alone.
Mm-hmm. Or just cover your face if you don't want to.
I mean, it's not like the paparazzi's out there getting after you. If a fan wants to take a picture, my God, let him take a picture, for crying out loud. Thank you, Pro. Thank you, Jarmart. Thank you, Carsonova. Thanks to all of you. Have a great night. We'll see you from Benedict College tomorrow night here on Sports Talk. Talk going into the Olympics about the Zika virus, and I haven't heard of one mosquito bite.
I haven't heard of one little thing.
Now, They didn't warn you about the robberies. They're so concerned